Hey guys, it's Jessii Vee, and wow, I'm so green today. If you couldn't tell, I'm wearing this mummy who has sunglasses on, and he's like popping out of an arcade machine. Yeah. Good times. I don't know why I just said that as if I was there when it happened. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about some very weird and creepy things that have happened in October. I still can't believe we're in October. And we're specifically going to be talking about something very, very odd that happened on October 10th. But before we get into that, as you guys probably know by now, we do have a Halloween backdrop behind me. It is these cool Halloween trick-or-treaters with pumpkin heads, because that's normal. So to enter to win for this backdrop, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, so my Jessii Vee channel, turn on your notification bell, and then head over to my TikTok account called Official Jessii Vee, give it a follow, and I'm gonna be choosing a person that I see liking and commenting on my videos during the month of October. So if I see your name popping up a lot of the time being supportive, I will choose you. So with that, let's jump right into today's video. The first date in October we're gonna be talking about is October 15th. This is actually National Grouch Day, which I had no idea even existed. It's to honor the world's famous Grouch from Sesame Street. This is a day to celebrate all Grouches we know, or to embrace the Grouch that lives inside of all of us. So this is a real national holiday or celebration, and on this day it says that no one can stop us from complaining. We're allowed to do all the complaining that we want. It also says we're allowed to wallow in our misery all day on this day. And it also says this day teaches us that it's good to spend time processing our negative emotions. So when I found this day during my research, it was just so odd to me. Have you guys ever celebrated National Grouch Day? The next date we're gonna be talking about is October 25th, because this is Chucky the Doll Day. And guys, I'm not making any of this up. These are real days on the calendar. There is literally a day on the calendar for the killer Chucky doll, and people celebrate him on October 25th every single year. Now, if you guys didn't know, Chucky the doll comes from a horror movie, and this movie is about this spirit that inhabits a good guy doll and continuously tries to transfer his soul from the doll to a human body. And this doll literally has the strength of a grown man. It's terrifying. Some people who celebrate this day will dress up as Chucky, they'll add more Chucky merchandise to their collection, they'll even have a Chucky movie marathon. So as you can probably tell, this day is really for die-hard fans. I've never personally celebrated this day, but if you're a huge lover of this doll, I get it. I get it. Now let's move on to a very creepy story about October 10th. There is this story about this girl who was not allowed to leave her house on this day every single year. Her mother would literally mark it down on all of their calendars so they would not forget. She would set alarms, notifications. They wanted to make sure that they were inside their house on October 10th. And if they had any plans that day, or if the girl had school that day, everything was canceled. Her mother would never tell her why they had to hide in their house on that day. She just told her daughter to stay in a room with no windows and not to answer the door no matter what. And every year as they sat hiding in the dark, they would hear their doorbell ring over and over, and would hear tapping on the windows all over their house. It was basically like something was desperately trying to get in. But by the time midnight hit on October 11th, everything would stop. No more tapping, no more doorbells, and things would essentially go back to normal. One year the mother was on a work trip, so the girl had to be home alone on this day. So her mother called her the day before on October 9th to remind her of all the rules and to warn her about how to hide, how to lock down the house. She wanted to make sure her daughter was fully prepared. Well, since this was the first time this girl had been alone on October 10th, she decided she was going to answer the door to find out who was really coming to her every single year for the past 16 years. I mean, can you really blame her though? She was so curious. The doorbell started ringing around 4 in the morning, so she slowly walked over to the door feeling a little hesitant. She was definitely very anxious to answer it, but her curiosity took over that. So she finally found the courage to open the door. As soon as she opened it, she was face to face with this tall, gangly looking woman. She had this droopy skin all over her body and her face, and the skin was so thin that she literally resembled this skeleton. And she stood there, pointing into this girl's house with her mouth wide open, but she wasn't making a sound. The girl immediately slammed the door in fear and ran to her bedroom. She called her mother and told her what happened and demanded answers about who this creepy woman was. Her mother told her that 50 years ago, there was a mother and daughter that were living in the house before them. And on the night of October 10th, there was a terrible fire and they both perished. The police were only able to find the body of the mother and not the daughter. So every year on October 10th, the mother's spirit tries to get into the house to look for her child. That is the saddest, most creepiest story I've ever heard. Like, I feel so much sorrow for this spirit, but at the same time, I would be terrified if I was living in the house while she was trying to get in. And yeah, that's why they stay in their house on October 10th, so creepy! The last creepy thing I wanted to talk about that I found out happened in October is that Houdini died on Halloween. Now, Harry Houdini was one of history's greatest magicians, and he was known for his terrifying illusions and escape stunts. Houdini performed his most daring magic tricks right up until the week before his untimely death. Now, before I tell you guys how he died, I just want to show you some of the weirdest magic tricks he ever did, and these tricks were so dangerous. Like, he risked his life every time he did these things. He did one called the belly of the whale escape. In 1911, he was literally challenged by people to try and escape the belly of a whale while his arms and legs were tied together. So they had to find a deceased whale and then sew him into the body of the whale. And apparently it only took him 15 minutes to escape while everybody watched. And they thought it was just this amazing event, but nobody knew that Houdini actually almost completely suffocated while in the whale from the arsenic, because that was the chemical that was used to embalm this whale since it was no longer alive. He also did this needle trick where he would swallow 100 needles with a glass of water, then he would open his mouth and show the audience that there was no needles left, and then he would slowly pull this string of needles out of his mouth. So dangerous. Oh my goodness, never do this. One of his most famous tricks is the box escape. Within 57 seconds, Houdini escaped from a heavy packing crate in New York's East River. And of course, it wouldn't be a classic Houdini trick without handcuffs, leg irons, and a crate with its lid nailed shut. Then he did a buried alive stunt, and this trick almost killed him. He was buried 6 feet under without a casket, and he struggled to dig his way to the surface and panicked when overcome by exhaustion. So he literally could not dig his way out of the ground and started to panic. So he started crying for help, and his assistants had to help dig him out. When they got to him, he was completely unconscious but somehow survived. And get this, he still performed this trick 2 more times after that. So now that you know all of the dangerous things that didn't kill him somehow, let's talk about his actual death that happened on Halloween. In 1926, Houdini was actually teaching a bunch of students in Montreal. He was showing them all of these tricks, and he told the students that his stomach muscles were so strong that they could withstand any amount of punches without injury. And because he said this, one of the students in the class went up behind him and punched him twice really hard in the back, hitting his appendix. And the student did this without warning or permission, thinking that Houdini was just telling the truth. Now, at first he felt completely fine, didn't think anything injured him, but he later had this horrible pain and actually collapsed during his next show right after the curtain closed. Physicians confirmed that the student's punches caused Houdini's appendix to burst and poison his system, and he died on October 31st. I literally had no idea that Houdini died on Halloween. That is crazy to me. And from just a punch to his back. So crazy. Now guys, obviously there are a lot of other crazier crimes and things that have happened in October, but a lot of these things are so gruesome and so horrible that I would not be allowed to talk about them on YouTube. So if you want to do your own research about all the things that happened in October in history, feel free to do so. But I had to talk about some of the tamer but still creepier things that happened during this month. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more Halloween content, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you want to win this backdrop, go over and follow my TikTok and just be very active on there. If I see your name, I will choose you. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!